morning. Brilliant. Okay, my name is Jo, and I also work for Show Racism the Red Card. And for the past few months, my team and I have been travelling all around the country running anti-racism events similar to this one for young people like yourselves. And this is actually our last event of the season, and as Conrad said, I do think that we have saved the best for last, and so our team is really excited to be at St James's today. Whoa!
What did you use to help you come up with your ideas? How did you come up with your ideas? It's a toughie. It's a really toughie, but it's very important. Yeah.
Racist comments on the football pitch. I think we've done a lot of these question and answers before, and one of the biggest things that we've always said that even if it's an opposition player that's getting racist abuse, it's not acceptable really, because we're all together, we're all footballers first and foremost. So we're not very happy with that. And if we ever heard it on the football pitch, if it was one of my teammates first, I'd go up and I'd tell him, and there'd be a lot of trouble in the dressing room after. And if I heard it from an opposition player, I would report it to somebody later. I wouldn't let it go, because it's not acceptable on the pitch, and it's definitely not acceptable off the pitch. So
racism was rife in the game. It was, and we didn't have organisations like this trying to combat it and trying to not just knock it out of the game, but knock it out of society as a whole. And I remember a derby game here against Sunderland. We played Sunderland here, and Sunderland had two black players playing, Gary Bennett and Howard Gale. And the abuse that they got was unbelievable. And I'm not proud to say that at the time we didn't say anything. I mean, we mentioned it in the dressing room afterwards, but again, not proud to say that back then it was part and parcel of the game, and it was just something that you accepted it, because it didn't just go on here, it went on at every ground in the country, because there wasn't that many black players playing the game at that time, and they were targeted because they were a different skin colour to everybody else. So they were the target, they were the ones that got the abuse, and it wasn't nice to see. And I felt for Benno and Howard Gale.
All I know is that one of the things I feel when I hear racist abuse and racist comments, I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed that that kind of thing can happen in my city or my area, because I think we should be a city that respects people for who they are as individuals. So I feel ashamed when it happens, but I also feel really determined to do something about it as an individual. And I think you should do too. Don't just let it wash over your head. Don't turn away and say, well, that wasn't me. Challenge. Comment, speak up, because it's wrong.
Of course, everyone can suffer from racism. You're more likely, obviously, to receive racism if you're black. But I don't know if you've seen at the beginning of the DVD, the Jewish got gas, and that was back Second World War, I think. And travelers get a lot of abuse. Because they live a different life. So it can happen. It can happen. You're more likely, obviously, to receive racism when you're black, but it does happen to everyone.
There is a story that happened a few years ago of a young white boy who was punched in the face by a white man in Scotland. Can anyone tell me, any children here tell me, why the white boy was punched in the face by the white man? Can anyone tell me? Any ideas?
Yeah.
Nothing was being said. The white boy was walking across a field and the white man was walking towards him just across the field. Nothing was said. And the white man punched the young boy in the face. And the boy must have been 8 years old. I'll tell you the reason why. It was because he was wearing an England shirt. And that was the only reason. They were both white. The man was white, the young boy was white. And it was all because he was English. So that goes to show that white people can still be victims of racism wherever you are in the world.
I mean, originally I got involved with Show Racism Red Card, meeting you, Jed, through Shaka Islop. When I met Shaka, we were going to go to visit a school just to promote, in a sense, you know, educate kids about racism. You know, a lot of people, I think, never, especially going back a long time ago, never really understood it. And me growing up, probably as a footballer, you know, was probably, I would say, 90% white, but you know, black lads, you know, for me, and when you get to speak to people like that, you start to understand what racism's about. You know, as I've said before, you know, somebody would have a go at me and call me a little so-and-so, and my retaliation was, especially if I would say, you're black so-and-so, and I guess to say, my argument was, well, it's the same thing, and not until you're educated do you understand that it's totally different, you know, to be alienated just because of your colour. And Darren Beckford, a good friend of mine still, who I played football at Man City, you know, I roomed with him and explained it. You know, he says, have you ever walked down the street and just total strangers shouted at you just because you were small? And I kind of, penny dropped in my head and gone, no, I've never had that, you know. And you know, then you speak to such as Shaka, you know, coming from a totally different environment, you know, from Trinidad to come to Newcastle, and he told me about his experience of, you know, people, you know, giving him abuse, and then once they recognised who he was, they kind of said, you know, oh no, hi Shaka, all right, we didn't meet, and he just shows you the, you know, the hypocrisy of it all. And for me to sort of get it across to people and educate the kids, because a lot of kids are not racist, even though they would probably be called racist because they've heard of what they've been said. It's just that they haven't been educated. They need to, and more people, I think it's changed so much now, and you've got to take credit, Jed, you know, for getting the awareness out there. And I keep saying it time and time again, it's education, it's people being made aware of why we act and what we do in certain ways. I think we're getting there. I've seen it totally change now. You know, you look at a football crowd now, you see, you know, so many different colours. You know, Asians now coming into football, which I think is fantastic as well. But not only just that, I think just generally as a nation, you know, you go out on the streets, and me mixing with my kids, you know, you just don't get that that friction anymore. What you used to when I used to remember walking the streets, and for me to be part of it and to give, you know, help in any way possible, it's just an honour. And if I can turn up to events like this to promote, you know, especially with the World Cup on the horizon, there's a major awareness of multicultural, and now we can all mix and be happy, because that's what it's all about. It's about getting on. We're all the same. If you cut ourselves, we all bleed the same. And as I say, I think it's getting better. There is people out there who need still educating. There is bigots out there. You know, there is uneducated people out there. We've just got to keep chipping away and keep making things better.